the number one thing for us to see in a kind of in proactive stance, that's improvement of sitting. But if we put the sitting as a kind of communication and activity epicenter, so your kind of current more ambitious perspective is that, or how we can get from sitting to standing. Well, I need to bring you back and say, well, you know what? From sitting, we actually need to review the foundations. What are the horizontal positions, not the vertical positions, right? Because so that's horizontal. It's not vertical position that we should be looking at kind of forwards. Saying, well, we need to look backwards and re-inspect, audit our horizontal position. What happens with the tone regulation there? And of course, if there is a tonic troubles at the transitions between awakeness and the sleep, so then there are obviously tonic troubles elsewhere through the day. And there are multiple kinds of those tonic conflicts. The tonic conflicts, and this is what I actually formulate as a key basis thing that you need for high quality of life, right? It's what I call the tonic freedoms. And tonic freedoms is a very simple concept. Tonic freedoms mean that we have the tones which are related to a person, to a personality. Then this would be the mental and emotional, what you think and what you feel. Then you've got the body, that would be positional and movement tones, right? And then you've got, let's say, the gut. That would be the respiratory and digestive. So, in fact, a happy life and the potential for development is when all of those tones, they have a deep enough common base throughout that total fascia distribution, which we are seeing at that kind of picture, that they are not conflicting each other. So that's really the key. So I don't want to sound as a kind of person who ruins the party or rains on the parade, like, wow, you know, we were looking forwards and now you're asking us to look backwards. If you want to move up, right? So you see one of the sort of other examples or metaphors that I'm using there is the metaphor of the foundation and the height or tallness of the building. So think about that every year of life, it's like adding an additional story to the skyscraper of growth. And in fact, if you are building that, so the true test to your underlying bodily foundation, which normally the healthy child is building like within the period of 0 to 1, then the other years from 2 to 20, they're effectively testing this essential foundation. And of course, when you add one story, 2 stories, 3 stories, 5 stories, and so on, you don't see if there are any real weaknesses, if your true foundation is that deep or is it that shallow. So that's why the older the child becomes, the bigger, the taller, and so on, the more you have those kind of tests and the challenges. So this is what you need to really take on board. So if things are challenging now, they are going to be more challenging later by adding extra stories, extra activities, and so on, compare if the foundation of the horizontal positions and the tonic regulations and so on, if those foundations are not deep enough. So that's really the central message. So we're not going backwards, we're not kind of like being less ambitious, we're being realistic and saying, you know what, if we build this foundation, so we are going to get a lot more self development, self build up, and so on and so on.